Spicy pictures, spicy content are very interesting avenues of revenue. You take a few scandalous or sexy pictures, someone buys it, and that's it. I never saw myself getting into that avenue at all, nor did I think I would be an assistant to someone else doing that type of content. Growing up, I was a very quiet and reserved person. A lot of the things I did was to just avoid having to talk to anyone longer than I had to. So I had a pretty general rule of just having no confrontations with everybody. That way I don't have to argue and they feel like, they're in the right, and then I can just let someone else deal with that. Now, as a mildly functioning adult, as well as being a content creator, I've learned how to really set my boundaries and to essentially just tell people, hey, if you don't like it, kick rocks. I wish I could have learned this sooner so that this story wouldn't have happened. So back in 2015, I'm working a busy college football weekend at the restaurant I used to work at. I had to work a double shift that day, so I knew I would get an hour break between to chill and unwind, so I decided to go to my favorite burger spot. This place got me through so many hectic weekends at my job. The burger and fries I ordered, they always hit the spot. Plus, these weekends would always have the restaurant empty, since a lot of the people would flood to my job. I would honestly say purely for the nostalgia. It's weird, but hey, empty restaurant for me to chill and watch anime on my phone in. Now, some of you are probably wondering, why not just eat / take my break at my job if I was also in the restaurant business? Well, Samantha, the break room for my job was in the basement. And the basement was very, very, very close to a sewer line. And more often than not, that smell would fill the break room. Not the rest of the stuff down in the basement, no. Just for some reason, the break room area. And I don't know about y'all, but I do not like the smell of shit when I'm trying to relax, especially if I have food on me. With all that in mind, this burger place was absolute paradise for me. So I get to the restaurant, I do my usual order, I take a booth in the middle of the restaurant, get ready to put my earbuds in to watch some anime, and as I'm putting my earbuds in, I hear, "Oh hey Sido, what's up?" I look up and see this girl, who for this story, we'll call her Sky. Now, Sky was a coworker that got hired a couple months ago, and in those couple months, I found this girl to be an absolute psycho. Now, I can't go through all of her red flags, otherwise this would be a 2-hour long video. But the two that made me want to never, ever, ever be alone with this girl was, one, she would do whatever she wanted, regardless where she was, without shame nor concern. And second, she was too money motivated. Now, this wouldn't be an issue if she didn't have the first red flag. For example, she would flirt with guys at tables to, try to get a little extra money out of them from the tips, which again, not a problem. But the times when the girlfriend would confront her about it and call her out for it, instead of admitting fault, she would double down and try to gaslight. The amount of times she had to be pulled back by the manager and other waitresses and yet still kept her job really shows how summers can make a restaurant super desperate, but also just how much of a problem she was. Seeing all that, I made doubly sure that I just stayed off this girl's radar and just stayed out of her way. Because again, I wasn't going to cause problems and be like, hey, we should get rid of this person. I'm just going to do my job and keep my head down and keep it pushing. And for some reason, that prompted her to want to be my best friend and cling to me like a yandere to her prey. Now, with all that backstory about her, let's get back to the main timeline. She would also invite herself into plans if she liked the sound of them, but that's a whole nother story for another day. So I immediately get annoyed seeing her, but I keep it cordial. Hey Sky, what's up? Oh, nothing much. I saw you walking here when I was crossing the street and decided to come with. She sits down, which makes me even more annoyed because Now I know I am not going to get to watch this anime in peace. She just keeps talking, and I'm sitting there not giving any real response back, just the usual uh-huhs, and that's fair, until something she says just hits my ear wrong. And she says, yeah, I made $300 today for some pictures on Kick. Pictures on Kick? What is she talking about? Who's paying $300 for pictures? No one in their right mind is wasting $300 on pictures. Now, my older viewers are going to know exactly what app I'm talking about. But for my younger viewers out there, we're not talking about the streaming app. There was a messaging app called Kick where you could just chat with your friends, or you could chat with random strangers. And just think of it as the OF before OF was founded. I don't even have to ask her how or why before she puts her phone in my face to show me a picture of her oiled up feet. And I'm just sitting there confused because at the time, I couldn't imagine someone paying 300 US American dollars for pictures of feet. The internet is vast. The internet is free. Even 10 years ago, the internet was vast and free. You can find feet pics on Google. Why are you paying for oiled up toes? Some people should not have money. Some people should not have access to money. She then proceeds to show me more pictures of her feet. And she tells me like how her friend got into it, saying it's easy money for feet pics. And again, I'm just so flabbergasted at this point, not just from the idea of it all, but the fact that she's not whispering to me. She's saying this as if it's normal to talk about in a restaurant. I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, a goddamn sanctuary. I can't come back to this place. I know the staff is back there gossiping about me and this girl because they think we're together. I'm a server. At least I used to be. I know what we talk about in the back about customers. So while I'm still reeling from this information that she has thrusted upon me, I noticed that as she's talking, she's starting to take off her shoes and socks. And I just go, yo, what are you doing? Oh, I'm getting ready to take some outdoor pics. The customers are probably getting bored of just seeing my apartment in the background. Bored of your apartment? They're looking at your feet! At this point, I break my rule about no confrontation. Now, I don't get loud or anything like that, but I do try to stop her. And I say to her, hey, yo, like, you shouldn't do that in a restaurant. If you're going to, at least go to the parking lot or something. You can go to a park. There's the quad like 5 minutes away. I also do want her to leave because I also want to eat my burger and watch my anime in peace. But it is true though. I don't want her taking out her fucking grippers in this restaurant that I frequent. And she hits me with the hardest Uno reverse card that I couldn't dispute. And she looks at me and says, well, if someone were to do it in our restaurant, would you stop them if they were at your table? And I just look at her and I'm like, silenced. She got me. Because honestly, at the time, no, I would see that if I was waiting a table, and I would just keep on as normal because I don't want to get into that discussion with a customer. Hell, I didn't want to talk to a customer about anything beyond just, what's your order? Do you need refills? Here's your check. And so I just lean back and just chill, and I'm like, do whatever you want. And I try to go back to eating my burger, thinking this was the end of it, and I would just have to be known as the guy who has a friend that takes feet pics in restaurants to these people. She then proceeds to slide her phone over to me and says, okay, now that that's out of the way, get a picture of the soles of my feet with your burger in it. I slowly look up at her, and she just keeps going on and on about making sure I get the right angle so her feet looks the best, and making sure that I don't get her face in the photo so the weirdos don't know what she looks like. You know, the usual feet pic stuff. And I'm just sitting there just absolutely disgusted. But I'm also presented with two options. I can A, argue with her, actually stand up for myself and just tell her how I'm not going to do this and that she needs to go somewhere else. Or B, don't cause a scene, take the photos, and just pray she leaves me alone after.
And you're picked to stand up for yourself, right?
You see the title of the video, you see the thumbnail. I chose option B. So I put on my best customer service smile, take the photos, and do this as quickly as possible. And afterwards, she looks at the photos, she's happy, and she does indeed finally leave. And so now I'm sitting there thinking, oh God, that was the worst experience ever. However, I can now eat this burger, I can watch some anime, I still have some time before my alarm rings, and it's time for me to walk back to work. I don't know if there's too much of a moral here. Well, actually there is. This is for my people that feel like they say yes a lot, they get walked on, they get stepped on. This is your sign that if it makes you uncomfortable or you did something you don't want to do, just absolutely remove yourself from the situation if telling them no doesn't yield the proper results. But if you like these videos, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to get kept up to date of other videos that come out on this channel. I'm hoping to get a lot more gaming videos out before I do the next story video. Plus, I'm still learning how to draw and trying to simplify my drawing, so I'm not trying to make a freaking whole manga every video. Not until I get it at that level, at least. Once I get that level, then yeah, that might be something that might come in the future. I don't know. Who knows? Let's see how well learning how to draw goes. But thank you for watching. Have a great day, night, afternoon, wherever it may be for you in the world. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Black coffee, I'm in trouble. Black coffee, I say double. How am I to get home? Black coffee, I'm so dizzy. Black coffee, please get